Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North East Non-League Show, episode 51. It's a Chesley Street United, special, sponsored by Jade Bell and DJ Private Hire. Join us tonight. We have Lewis Pendleton and Jeff King, lads. Thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
Excellent. We're really looking forward to lots to chat about. Obviously, the club on and off the field, the Northern League, and the FA Youth Cup as well. And starting with yourself, Lewis, I mean, the club itself only formed in 2020. What was the main aim of creating the club, and what did you want to do for the area?
We got bored in lockdown, to be fair. Everyone was locked down on the club, to be fair. So.
Love it.
No, I think it was something that the day job that I have is running a sports academy. So we have a sports academy, Parkview Academy of Sport. And we wanted to create a pathway for players. And sort of when I started on this journey with my partner, John Gamble, 6-7 years ago, we looked to try and stretch players and create an opportunity where we felt that playing senior football would be really important. And off the back of that, we knew that there was a lot of teams in our local area in Chesley Street, but there wasn't necessarily an infrastructure to allow player development in the way that we wanted in the academy. So what we were finding was that we were recruiting players at 16 to come into our post-16 provision, but they were from clubs much further afield across the water, which was great, and putting on minibuses, but there was a big chasm of where we were really in Chesley Street and the surrounding areas where the players weren't from our local area. So we wanted to do something to do that, and we had a coaching structure set up. I previously worked in boxing and did some work in professional boxing, and we were going to develop it under a brand that we had and do some coaching. And I think the thing that struck me was that for young people to have to pay or families to pay £20-25 subs to be part of a club, get a game and play, and then to have to pay another £25 to get specialised coaching, as they call it. And if you've got 2 or 3 kids, it becomes an expensive business to try and develop young people. So we set out really to try and develop an infrastructure where we could create a pricing model that was affordable, that allowed people to get double the sessions, so 2 sessions a week, and then go into coaching. And we've looked to try and put, I hate to use the word, but to put like professionally paid coaches into an environment and normalise that. So rather than having your volunteer clubs and your infrastructure that is the incredible thing that is grassroots football, we wanted to envelope that and provide CPD for parents and people who support the clubs, and have sort of coaches akin to kind of what was going on within the academy structure around us. So we formed the club by bringing the youth sections together in Chester Street in London, and we ended up with over 60 youth teams. It went sort of crazy, to be fair. And it's been a big challenge. We went from sort of not existing to being a really big youth section. We've got a fantastic group of people that support that in Phil and Gary and Vicky and Liam and all the coaches, over 100 volunteer coaches that support the infrastructure of the club as a charity. And then we formed a senior team that started in the Wayside League and did well. We got blocked through COVID in terms of we were progressing well in the league and had a real talented group of under 19 players. And then from there, managed to get promoted and into the Northern League. So yeah, it's been a long, mad journey. But to answer your question, I think it came from wanting to develop young people and create a pathway where players could play for their junior club in their local area and then seek to try and represent them at the highest level at senior football, or the level that's appropriate to where we are now, really. So, yeah, it was a challenge for John and I, but it was centred around creating a pathway for our academy, and then having young players coached and developed. And I just think to sort of touch on that, the teams that are coming in now, we've got sort of 4 under 16 teams. 2 of them are outstanding, and 2 are developing teams and very good sides as well. So in theory, our whole academy could be Chesley Street United teams. I mean, it's not. We've got players from all over joining Parkview, but the beauty of what we've now done is we've seen the work of those teams that when we started were like under 13s, now enveloping through to being under 14s, 15s, and 16s. And we've done the same when we brought our first group of under 7s through, like Connor and Craig run, who are now under 10s, under 11s, and they're absolutely flying and doing really well. So it's nice, and you sort of you look forward to the day that their children come through at under 16 and hopefully come and represent the first team. So yeah, that was the spotted journey of how we got from where we were to where we are.
Yeah, great journey so far. And Jeff, I mean, 3 years, I mean, it's nothing really, and you must be so proud of what you've done on and off the field so far of the journey.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was 2 years ago, that just over 2 years ago, that I kind of like joined. And I used to be in the Northern League before I was secretary of Bedlington Terriers about 12 years ago. And not that I had a bad experience there, I really enjoyed it, but I decided that I didn't want to be tied to one club. I just wanted to go around, watch games and things like that. And then I went off to a cup final at Bolton for Nova Radio, and it was Bolton versus Chester Street United, and I couldn't believe it. You know, I saw these young kids come out to play in a cup final against a bunch of men, and I thought to myself, "Oh, this is going to be a bit of a mismatch sort of thing." You know, I had done a little bit of research, to be fair, but and I knew there were two good sides, and then just the way that Chester Street United started playing football was unreal. You know, it was like I'm so used to Northern League football being very direct, and here was a team knocking the ball around from the back to the front, and so from there, really, it was like I met Lewis and John Gamble that day. Lewis had a bit chat about it and told Lewis what I'd done in the past. Lewis asked us if I would write a match report for him because they won the cup final, and I did a match report, sent it off to him. And from there, it was like, well, would he come in and have a word, have a chat with us? And went in, had a chat, and really the project that Lewis has just outlined there was completely sold to us. And when they asked us to come on board, and I kind of like thought about it because I live in Cramlington, so it's quite a distance as well for us. I thought about it and I thought, you know, this is a really, really exciting project. I'd really like to be part of it and see where we can take it. And the last 2 years have been an absolute joy. I'm pretty much involved really with just the first team. But just watching people behind the scenes wanting to produce something for Chester Street United is fantastic. And the work that John Gamble and Lewis Pendleton and their coaches, the likes of Mickey Nelson, Colin Wotherspoon, who do the first team, and then the coaches behind them, Connor McHugh, Craig Buick, put in, it's just unreal. And you're right, 3 years, you know, and we're already, and I know we're going to talk about the FA Youth Cup later on, but we're already sort of like in the Northern League. We got through the Wearside League. We're in the Northern League, and we're moving forward. And you know, when people come to play us, either at our place or we go to their place, they literally cannot believe that there's no old experienced heads in the team. Like all young guys, you know, and like they look and they think, well, we're just playing a bunch of kids, and then they see how we play. It's been tough this year, and I know we're going to touch on that as well. But what we do is completely unique. And if it wasn't unique, I don't think I would be part of it. You know, if it was just a normal run of the mill, which is no, I love the Northern League. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the Northern League. But it makes me proud to see what Lewis and John have established and what other people believe in and want to push on. And yes, it's tough at times, it's very tough at the moment. But we believe in what we're doing, and we believe we're doing it the right way and for the right reasons. And if it doesn't, it's not about, people thought, well, we thought, oh, we're going to walk through the Northern League, we're going to go into the pitchings and the North. It's not about that. It's, as Lewis says, it's about developing people, not just as footballers, but as young men as well, and young ladies, because we've got a really good ladies side as well. And you know, at my age now, if I can help promote somebody's life to be in a better life and giving them a pathway to go forward, that's what makes me as proud of this.
Yeah, no, really good. Lots of positive stuff. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, Lewis just touched on there going from the Weir side to the Northern League and a good mid-table finish in the first season was thought, yeah, we really hate not to just make up a number, but actually take part and be competitive and even push on even further from that first season.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what's different for us is that we don't keep players for a specific reason. So we develop players as what we call first, second, and third years. So under 17s, under 18s, under 19s. And for us, that is the pathway. That is the purpose of what we're trying to do. And there are many Northern League players that I speak to, players that are playing in the National League and stuff that, as Jeff said, like they've done it, but we've been a part of their journey. We've seen, you've seen some players retire now and you start to feel a bit old. But I think that the thing for me is that that's what we've decided to stick to and say that that's what we want. So when we have a strong group of under 19s, we're able to really compete because the boys go through their growing, their physical development. So at under 16, under 17, under 18, they go through 2 years of strength and conditioning. In that third year, they tend to physically mature as men. That's the normal process as they leave adolescence. And then from there, we see the benefits of 2.5 years of working, and that's when they kick on, that's when they're really strong. And so we knew this year we got a very good group of technically good players and sound players, but we've got players who aren't physically developed because they're 17-year-old. And when we look at that, and I have to remind myself because I get as frustrated as anybody at times with them, that actually when they become under 19s next season, that's when we look to say, okay, how are you going to compete in this league? Because the physical demand, you'll be able to manage a match. And we had it in the Wearside League. When we were in the Wearside League, we had a group of complete under 19s, and everyone said, "Oh, they're just kids and the physicality." That group of players knocked everybody about, and it didn't make any difference because they were really strong. This group will do the same, and I'm fortunate to work in the gym with them, and John and Michael and Connor and Craig and the team of coaches, Anthony and everybody involved in the academy sees them on a day-to-day basis. But you can see that the physical development coming, and that doesn't yield results just yet. And so you go, right, okay, well, lots of people say lots of things about us as a club and what we're doing. At the end of the day, what we're interested in is producing young players to play at the highest level that they can be. And a byproduct of that is that Chesley Street United will have a good club. The town will have a club that's seeking to progress young players and give young players an opportunity to play. And, in the future, that model, we might retain more. We might go to an under-23 model. We might do that. But what we're always going to do is allow our best players to move on at the highest level because that's our purpose. We don't get financial reward for that. We do that for players to make professional debuts in leagues and do the things that we set out for them to achieve. So it's always a balancing act. It's a balancing act. I'd love to climb through the leagues and do all those things. I'm a realist. We need a lot of money and we need a lot of experience to do that. And that's not the model that I want to go on a Saturday and watch. It's not the way that I want our project, our club to be. And I firmly believe that we're developing brilliant young people and we're putting a lot of resilience into those young people, and they get a lot of respect when they come off the pitch against men, and they learn so much, and that when they drop back to their own age group, they take what they've learned from the Northern League, which is a fantastic league and great for us to be part of. And that then allows them to show their level at their respective age group. So, yeah, that's the structure.
Yeah, just agreeing there in the comments. Even Jason, thanks for watching as well. And I mean, Jeff as well. I mean, last season I was very lucky. Obviously, the hub just around the corner, and I just remember one weekend I thought, right, who's playing? And I seen a game down the hub, and from that first time, I think I was with 3 or 4 games in a row. After that, I just they play the football, they're passing the football, like you say, the young lad just going out and showing what they could do on the pitch, it was absolutely amazing. And like you say, the style of football, but also the welcome. Like I say, we met Jason, great bloke. I know we speak nearly every week now. And I know it was a learning curve, but like you say, it was enjoyable to see the players playing with a smile on the face. But to watch that type of football, it was absolutely brilliant. It was really enjoyable, wasn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, and I mean, this is the thing for me, you know, when I sort of went pre-season before my first season and watched how they approach things, and then took it into the Wearside League. That was my first season. The year we got out, and I'd never seen a non-league side in this region play football the way that Chester Street United do. You know, as Lewis has said, it's not always winning football, you know, but it's football played the way I want to see it played, sort of thing. And to be fair to Jason, that's how he got involved. You know, Jason was at the Newcastle Eagles with me, and you know, he kept asking us about it, what's it like, and I said, come along and watch. You know, and he came along to watch one game, and he's never left. You know, because you know, just the style of football is just, you know, the way we play, and you know, last year it was. And I'll let Lewis talk more about this. It was difficult because we had to play at the Ford Hub because of certain reasons. We couldn't play at the Riverside. And I know we're going to, again, cover that later on. But the Ford Hub obviously suited us the way we play football. So every other game, if you're at home, you're playing on a surface which they're training on during the week, same side of surface. So guys were able to play and express themselves. And, you know, we used to get the comment all the time as well, can't believe these lads are so young. We get the comment even now being third bottom of the league. We still get the comment, I can't believe you're third bottom the way you play football, sort of thing, you know. We've battered teams this year and ended up losing 1 or 2-0, you know, because but we just, you know, we try and play. But at the hub last year was a little bit, it was hard because it was hard for us to track any supporters to go across and watch it. But it wasn't hard for the lads playing there. They love playing there. You know, they love to be able to play the football the way they want to play football, you know, and we've played some great games. I mean, we had I think it was a 10 or 11, 12 unbeaten run. But what that did was playing at the Ford Hub enabled us to go with confidence when we were playing on grass pitches, you know, and that gave us the confidence to take that football onto those pitches and show that people could play on grass as well, sort of thing, you know. And one of the things obviously Lewis hasn't mentioned is, well, he kind of half mentioned it as well, is we're trying to progress these guys, these lads, into men as well in men's football. But also when we come out of that men's football and go back, last year we won 2 national championships as Parkview Academy. You know, and that's because when we go back to play at our age group, we've kind of like got a different mentality. You know, sometimes we wish we could take that mentality from our own age group into the Northern League, you know, but that's tough because you're playing against tough people. But no, you know, it was great last year. You know, it took a while for the lads to get used to the league. It took a while for them to get used to physicality. But when they realised that footballing wise, we were on the par with anybody in that league, the confidence grew. And we started scoring goals, we started winning games. And it was a fantastic end of the season.
No, it was really good. I mean, Lewis, like you say, getting ready for the Riverside, ready for the 2023 this season. It was a massive, obviously, for the club. And I was absolutely gutted to see us leave the Hooks. Honestly, I love watching around there. It was great to have a team down playing every weekend. But obviously, the new stand goes up now with Gary, and it just created a real buzz, didn't it? Around there. I remember the social media at the time with the stand going in and everyone sharing it on like Twitter and Facebook. It was a really nice time, wasn't it?
Not so much for me. I was in hospital actually, but yeah, it was good. No, I mean to be fair, it was brilliant. We had a sign that we had to keep secret for about 3 months from Gary Brown, because obviously we named it the Gary Brown stand, and he suggested it was the most ironic thing I've ever done, given the fact that he doesn't stand. So I think that was an interesting comment from him. But we there's a long story about the Riverside. I think
a series, couldn't we really?
yeah. We could write a Netflix series on the ridiculousness that went on. I think the thing for me was the positivity around that night for Gary was amazing. we had our women's team who we had two fantastic chaps who were going to step down at the end of the season. We made them honorary life presidents, Kevin Jackson and David Taylor. And they'd ran the women's team as it was known as Lumley for 16, 17 years. And the opposition didn't show up, which was a bit of a disaster. So we did an in-house game between our under-18s and them. And it was brilliant. There was lots of people there, and it was a massive moment, a hugely emotional moment for us all to get the floodlights in, to go through the challenges that we had to get to just the point of putting lamps on posts, in essence. And to know that we'd done what we'd set out to do, despite many people's best efforts to sort of stop that. It was a great moment and very fitting for somebody like Gary Brown, because when we started Parkview Academy of Sport, I was working for Durham County Council, and I was a senior manager there doing work in leisure. And I knew that I wanted to go and set up an educational based program, and provided my notice to leave for 3 months, and met Gary, but I couldn't actually officially confirm that I was going to start an academy because I had to serve notice working for Durham and do work on a night time while still doing my job. So it was all a bit challenging. But the long story short was Gary got us started with two of his under-16 teams. He bought into what we were trying to do, and he got us started. We took a group of players and we made them successful. They won 3 cups in the local Durham County Schools Leagues. It was the first time since 1974 the school had won a local trophy, and it was driven by Gary. So it felt right that he annoys the life out of us on a daily basis, so that we should name a stand after him to give him what he deserves, really, because his vision was to have a club that could have young people stepping forward and a pathway into senior football. And he wanted to do that with the club that he built, which was Lumley Juniors, which was a magnificent club. But we'd spoken and agreed that Lumley as a village would only captivate so many people in terms of fans, and the longevity of trying to build a club that has the potential to have infrastructure and build and climb through leagues and do the things that it may do. And that was when we decided on the word united, because we felt we could bring people together and unite them. And the Chesley Street United kind of idea was born. So yeah, the night was great. I found out I had type 1 diabetes apparently, so I sort of got FaceTimed in whilst being on a drip in hospital. And that's fit into the way our club's been, I suppose, because we do all this work, and I often am doing something that is driving a minibus or doing something that's missing the essence of sometimes our hard work. But no, brilliant, because Gary's an absolute legend, and he deserves all the accolades that he gets, really. So yeah, the little stand went in, and that allowed us to comply with the ground grading in the time frames that were set out, really. So yeah, it was good.
No, really good. And how's this been so far this season, Jeff? The support, can you feel it growing with the support as the games go on?
I think somebody made a comment to me. One of the guys who helps out, John Young, who's father of one of our players, Brandon. He said it's difficult when you're not winning, to build that support up. We've also got, as most people obviously know, you've got Chesley Street Town as well, who are an established. They've been going over, I think, about 80 years and been in the Northern League for years, and so we're competing against that as well, and I think it has been difficult. There's times where we've had good crowds, very good crowds, and then other times where it's dropped right off. I think as well, and this is no way a criticism of anybody within the league, but there's times when Chesley Street Town are at home the same day that we're at home. So you got two games there, that can make it difficult as well, because the floating support, I would probably at the moment go with Town, because they're doing pretty well this season. We're not having the best of seasons, and our home form, to be honest, is disastrous. We've lost 8 at home this year. which is not good. But we keep going, and we believe in it, and we believe that, you know, if we can turn that corner, and as Lewis says, we've got a lot of first years in and around the first team squad this year, more than we probably would like. And that's, again, no disrespect to those lads, because technically they're good enough. It's the physicality which they lack.
Yeah.
But next year and the year after, if those lads are still with us, we'll be better, and people will want to come and see the football that we play. Don't get me wrong. We're not massively behind everybody else. We're crouched down up within the league. You know, we just would like a few more as well, sort of thing. And I think the other thing as well, which I hope people don't mind us saying, is we'd probably like a few more people to come down and volunteer and help the club as well. You know, because, you know, Northern League exists on volunteers. You know, you go to some. I get envious of, sometimes I go to a club and I'll say about 10, 12, 11, 13 people or whatever it is helping out, and they've all got sort of jobs and what have you. That's something we're still, because of we're infancy, we're still trying to grow. We've got a lot less people than that, and we need to do that to sort of try and build our club up. And if we can do that and get that kind of thing right, then people will want to come. It will be more attractive. I think we do an awful lot of things right. I think we could do an awful lot of things better, and I think we can do an awful lot of things and grow the club if we had a few more volunteers, and we looked at how we're running things. But it hasn't been terrible. It's just, I think we could do with a few more. That's all, you know. But one of the things you've got to do to get that is you've got to win games as well.
Yeah. Jay's put there 100%. Give him less steps. A couple of times there.
Nothing to do with getting some more balls. Apparently, he's the oldest ball boy in the Northern League as well. So, yeah, excellent if he could do
that. Just touching back to the club itself, Lewis. I mean, we touched on how it's only literally been 3 years, and I had to write it down, obviously, how much has actually got on. But obviously, apart from the first team, you've got the women's team, the men PV team, the youth team, the development centre, Mini United, Little United, inclusion football, holiday camps. I mean, have you slept anything the last 3 years?
Not really, no. I think for us, like, we're a 3-star accredited club. We have an all-inclusive pathway. We are really, really proud of the well over 65, nearly 70 teams. You can go to 80 when you include things like the Mini and Little United and the disability provision that we put on the Inclusion United. I think what is really, really striking is that we are 100, like we're a charity. You know, we're a not-for-profit entity, we're a not-for-profit organisation, and we seek to exist to plug a gap. And I started a career in sport development and management, working in leisure centres and facilities, and working in Gateshead and places like that, and producing what they call sport development youth services, diverting young people into sport, and that just doesn't exist at all anymore. And for us, that's what we do. We deliver holiday programs. During COVID, we delivered a holiday camp to 740 young people. We fed 740 young people in bubbles. The BBC came down. It was really, really emotional and brilliant. And myself and John stood and made 740 ham and cheese sandwiches. Missed the sessions that were going on because we were in a cafe making sandwiches. But that kind of sums up the ethos of what we are. Like, we love helping and supporting people and giving people opportunities. The club is, as Jeff said, I think there's a drive for us and John Gamble, my really good friend and business partner and first team manager. He would say to me, well, when's it enough? I don't know. Like, winning the Champions League, maybe. But, like, you've got to look at how we do and what do we measure success on. And success is, there's a magnificent photo on our Instagram of 2 young people at the inclusion session, and it's just incredible. You've got Gary Brown there, you've got 2 young boys, you've got women's team, first team. Like, I couldn't care less about winning the Northern League Second Division. Give me that every single day of the week, because that's development. That's building a legacy, that is doing something that is good and positive. And on the backdrop of a lot of things that get said around the ground grading, I know we'll touch on that, and the facilities, we just do so much good. You know, I walk my dog in the local area, and there's just a million Chesley Street United hats and scarves. And they probably didn't pay 12 quid like I did for them, but it's great because like that they don't know who I am. You know what I mean? I'm just a bloke walking his dog after them, because our club's that big, and you think, wow, wait, am I doing all this stuff that's just great? So yeah, you can get wrapped up in, and we are in a tough position at the minute, and there's a long way to go in the season. And but yeah, as Jeff said, we can get 250, 120, 180, 170s. But as I said to the lads, like, you keep getting beaten up, who wants to watch that? You play lovely football, and then someone booms it up and you get beat 1-0 in the 95th minute, and it happens 6-7 times in a row. People don't want to watch that. They want to come and see us win trophies and be successful. And that comes. I think that comes. We just have to not abandon our principles and stay doing that. So yeah, the work that's gone on is a massive collective effort from not just me. You know, I just moan, shout, and encourage people to do things. We couldn't do it without people like Jeff, without people like Jason, without the John Youngs of the world. You know, there's loads of people who just literally have bought into this. You know, Craig Buick brings his daughter to the games, and Connor, and John, and you know, there's there's a good feel to what we do. And as Jeff says, there's certainly room for a lot more, because it would mean that Jason wouldn't have to do 3,500 steps again, because he struggles to get round. He doesn't do that many steps. So the more people that could help out, the better, really. But yeah, it's when you sit back and reflect, you realise that we do a lot of real good things, and that's the most pleasing thing for us as a club, really.
No, fantastic. Before we get on the on-field stuff, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's watching so far. Some great support as always. Any comments, get them in before the show ends as well. And if you haven't already, please get across to the social media for Chester Street United. And obviously, like you say, like the page, follow, share, whatever you can to help them on social media as well. It'll really help. And anyone that's watching as well, please help our channel grow as well by hitting that subscribe button, as we always really appreciate your support as well. And getting onto the on-field stuff now, and starting with yourself, Lewis, I mean, going to the season, I mean, in our group, and we kind of said at the start of the season, kind of who will be in the top 3, top 4, place to look out for and stuff like that. And a lot of people mentioned, obviously, United to be up there, challenging for the league. And I mean, sitting where you're at the moment, I mean, what's your thoughts on the season so far,
Rob? The players that we have are capable of beating anybody in the league on their day in the right set of circumstances, but the world doesn't work like that. So I think it's great that the league is a real test and a real leveler for these lads, because if they play to the maximum and they work hard and they're well drilled and well schooled, then they are in theory capable of being in those positions that people touted them to be. But because they're young, and because they're inexperienced, and because they don't have the guile that we see other teams do, and there's some very good teams in the league, they're in the position where they should be. Now, you know, we don't make any excuses for that. We can talk about pitches, we can talk about their age, we can talk. At the end of the day, we're the 3rd worst team in the league right now, and that's because we keep getting beat. So that's the reality of the situation, and we face that. And you know, the real pleasing thing is that there is complete belief in the group that things are going to change. You look at the results. If you analyse, we don't get hammered ever, really. You know, we're very close. But for like a Michael Nelson, a John Gamble, myself, people who are winners, it's a very, very alien position to be in, to be honest. We didn't really set an expectation at the beginning of the year to sort of think that. I think our thought process was consolidating the league, get this group from under 18s to under 19s, and then let's have a go. Let's have a look at where we can be. So I'm realistic in that sense. Do I think we'll get relegated? No, I don't. I think we've got far too much in our ammunition to to do that. And we often play teams, as Jeff says, teams at the top of the league who managers walk off with it and go, bloody hell, like you battered us. How did that happen? So I think there is just that learning curve, and it will change. And so yeah, I think it's been a really disappointing season results wise. Really disappointing. I didn't think we would be where we were now. But I think that we just have to work harder. The only option for this group of players is to work harder. We're not going to go and sign old players. We're not going to go and do that. You know, we've talked about the merits of perhaps one or two experienced players. We had a young centre half who was doing all right at 43 for a little bit, and he had to go and completely kill the average age of the squad. We've got to play 14-year-olds for the next 10 years to balance that out. But you know, Mickey's incredible and he's a fantastic coach and human being to have around the lads. But we want to continue doing what we're doing, because ultimately it has to win out. We think it will. You know, this season is going to be a tough season, and I think the just the aim of the game is go into the next game and try and win. And I don't care whether it's the top of the table or the team who's second bottom. You know, there's no easy games in this league whatsoever. Everyone has a different approach. At this part of the season, it's tough. You know, there's Mark Spitz doing laps on most people's pitches at the minute. So there's not a great deal of football being played, and when it is played, they're very, very heavy, which just doesn't suit our players. But we know that, you know, we're not making excuses. Everybody's in the same boat, so the lads will learn loads from it. So yeah, it's a challenging time, and hopefully we get back on this after Christmas sometime, and it's a lot different. And when we do, they're very, very capable of going on a long run, but they need to get the first one and the second one, and they've done that a couple of times, and you think, oh, they're going to turn a corner, and then they just do some mad stuff that you think, oh, that's like Easington the other night. You know, side done really well first half, and then second half just decided to just fall apart really, and that's just experience of young players. And our job is to find the little chink in their armours and iron those out and improve them and give them confidence to say, no, these players are capable, and add to the group. You know, we've brought in a couple of players who fit the mould in terms of the age profile, looking at under 19s, and that's what we'll do. And that's what we'll continue to do. So yeah, it's really tough. It's tough for the club, but even last home game, you got a group of under 9 ball boys coming to the game, loving it, getting free food, coming and meeting the players, learning about tactics, you know, just having a little 3v3 on the pitch at half time, sprinting to get the ball, and then when they get the ball, not sprinting to get it, but we were 1-0 down, so that didn't really work. But they loved it, you know, and you get a lot of pride from that. I'd like some 3 points. I'd probably sacrifice all of that for 3 points right now, but yeah, it's good. It's challenging. It's very challenging, but we just have to stick together and keep working. And the players are doing that, and we've got. I wouldn't change any of the staff for the world. They're brilliant. So yeah, we just got to keep going.
Really good. And I think, Jeff, the next question, I think this shortened out would really help with a lot of the fans that we see on these boards online and stuff like that. A lot of Northern League fans obviously mentioned the age, no experience, and that you need it in the league. And I think it's nice to get the shortened night, and a lot of people are watching it back as well. And it's all about, like you say, the youth and development and growing as a club and then players themselves, isn't it? Yeah,
and I think, you know, what we've got to look at is 2 years ago in the Wearside League, right? The team that, you know, but for a couple of goals would have won the Wearside League. We got promoted anyway because obviously the team who won the league couldn't go up because they didn't have the facilities. But you look at that team there, right? And you're talking again, most of those lads are still under the age of 21, right? And every single one of those lads is playing at a higher level, you know? So they're playing at either, a couple of them have stayed in the second division, but they're either playing in the first division or they're playing in the Northern Premier Division. Some lads we had from a different area, they've gone back down to London. We've got a lad playing in Step 3, you know, Step 4 down in London. We've got a lad playing in the Welsh Premier League who 2 years ago were playing for Chester Street United in the Wearside League. This is the type of thing we do. And of course, we've got Michael Spellman, right? Now, for anybody who doesn't know who Michael Spellman is, well, have a look at Sunderland's under 23s or 21s. He's captain of those. He's got a 2-year professional contract with Sunderland, and he got that through his performances in the Wearside League. I don't know of any other player who's gone from the Wearside League to a full-time professional championship side. You know, that's what Chester Street United's about, you know, and that's why, the experience at times gets to it. The confidence thing's a big thing. You know, quite often if we lose one goal, we might lose another one, and it's difficult for us to get back to that sort of thing. But I'll tell you what, if these lads get in front, they're a very, very difficult side to come back against, because you've got to get the ball off with first of all, sort of thing, you know. You know, and you know, but we haven't done that this year. We did that last year, and we did that in the Wearside League, and teams were like, okay, all right, let's get after them because we're behind, and found out suddenly there were 2 or 3 behind. You know, we beat some of the top sides last year. Even this year, we played Blythe Town in the Vars, and I hope anybody from Blythe Town who watches this doesn't take this as disrespectful, because if they just bear with us a second, I felt that when Blythe Town came to us in the FA Vars, they thought they were just going to roll us over, you know, and they got a shock, you know. 1-1 at 90 minutes. They won on penalties again. Probably experienced heads got them through on penalties. But they did us a massive compliment, because 3 weeks later we played them in the league and the beat was 7-1. You know, and I think an awful lot of that was down to the fact that, hey, these lads can play. We haven't got to let them do that to us again. You know, we drew 1-1 with Crook in the League Cup. You know, a first division outfit, and probably deserved to win that game. Went out on penalties again, unfortunately. You know, so we know there's the ability is there. You know, but for me, I also look at last year. We must have lost nearly 11 or 12 players from last year's squad, who again have all gone to a higher level. You know, most have gone to first division clubs. When I say higher level, I guess this year some of them are at second division clubs, to be perfectly honest, but they're playing in the top second division clubs, sort of thing. You know, you got like the likes of Dan Lannon, who came through our system, was captain of the team that won the 2 national championships for Park View. He's top goal scorer for Newcastle Blue Star, who are top of the second division. You know, so you know, we definitely can get there. And I just think it's like, but again, time and time again, we prove our point. We've got a couple of lads who have been down at Huddersfield. You know, one of whom's actually going to come back and play for Chester Street United now. He was playing for another team in the league. You know, and you know, we picked up a lad who was playing for another Northern League side, who, because he was at Park View, played in the FA Youth Cup, and he decided he loved playing with the lads in the FA Youth Cup, so he'll come back and play for us in the Northern League. So, you know, we've got the spirit, we've got the character. It's experience and confidence is probably the 2 things that we lack.
Yeah, no, going the right way though. I mean, Lewis as well. We've got to touch on Mickey Nelson and John Gum. I know I met John a few times doing the vlogs last season down at the hub, and like you say, a great bloke. But to have them 2 people with the experience that they've had as well, it must be nice for them young lads to look up to, listen to, but just learning day by day with 2 people like that.
Yeah, I think that for me is the biggest thing that we can do, because they've had incredible careers, both in coaching and in management, respectively. I think you look at John's career; he came through this system, being into professional football, out of professional football, played at a high level, managed at a high level in semi-professional, and Mickey, you know, from being a scholar and getting on and getting released and coming back into sort of non-league football to go up and do what he did and have an absolutely amazing career is built out of tenacity. And I think what I like so much about Mick and about John is that they have that determination, that desire that is something that I feel really passionate about, that we need to pass on to kids, to say, look, it's not enough to just drift or not know what you want to do, or like have a go, decide to do something and really, 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 really give it your lot. And if you're not doing your nutrition right, your strength and conditioning right, your physio right, your running right, then you're going to do that. You've got to look at the sacrifices that Mick made to leave his family and travel and make a fantastic career and go to places like Norwich, and the things that he did is that's born out of, yes, being a talented player, but that being a talented player came from working really, really hard. And that's something that I relate to, and that John relates to. And that's what we want our players to be. We want them to work really, really hard, because if they work harder and run harder than the opposition, in theory, we should get the results. And that is what they have to do to sort of start any process. And if they do that and they get beat by a side and the side's better than them, then you can accept that every day of the week. So yeah, John and Michael are great. John manages the side. Michael's the head coach. Michael runs the academy. So he sets the tone for the academy. He does all of the sessions, all the planning. He's absolutely meticulous in his approach. He's brought another dimension to the academy, and him and John work really, really well together. They see the game very, very similar. And Michael's a fantastic mentor for coaches like Connor, Connor's a great lad, and he's someone who's developing really well in his journey running the PV, what we call our PV side, our reserve side. Mm-hmm. And he does a lot of the analytics for us as well. So Mick's a great asset to have, and having experience of working in the pro game and running teams, and his connections as well. So yeah, and I think the sort of the unsung hero, and Jeff talks about it, is Colin Witherspoon as well. Colin's a massive factor in what we do, and he's a brilliant coach. Mad as a box of frogs, and if you don't pass the ball properly, then you certainly know about it. But Cole sets the standard really well. He's somebody who I've got great admiration for, and again, he's a massive part of the first team alongside John, alongside Mickey. And Cole is one of the most passionate people I've ever met, and somebody who's infectious and drives you to be better every single day, and that rubs off on the players. He's year after year had groups of players who just buy him and buy into what he's about. And people will say, "Oh, it's old. John's old-fashioned, and Colin's old-fashioned, or this is old." Like, great, I love that, because passing the ball is passing the ball, and doing the basics right is really, really important to us. So I think for Cole, yeah, he's a great asset, and somebody who, again, you have Colin, you have Michael Nelson, and you have John Gamble. Like, what a great setup that is. We just need a massive budget, I suppose.
It's nice, isn't it? Jace just mentioned there, don't mention Rangers to Colin either.
We're also not going to mention the fact that Parkview lasses went up and played Celtic as Academy lasses and won last night.
Yeah, they did do that. Yeah, we went and played. The girls went and played Celtic and beat them, and I don't think Colin went. So he was really split, because obviously he's Parkview through and through. He's from View Park in Glasgow, but when it comes to Celtic, it really doesn't matter, because there's only one winner for him. So, but yeah, a great bloke, Celtic mad, a phenomenal coach alongside John and alongside Mickey, and the players couldn't want for any more in terms of what they're getting. And I just think, despite where we are, despite the results not being right, you often hear this: "Oh, the players have stopped playing for them." There's too much respect there. They know what they get, what day in, day out. So yeah, really pleased with the training stuff. And perhaps if only we could just do rondos and training drills, we'd be like Real Madrid. We'd win the league on how we look. But unfortunately, you actually have to cross a white line and fight for them points. So yeah, but good, brilliant people.
Excellent. And Jeff, a lot of people mention obviously the style of football on the pitch, but I think one of the things that I love, and the group absolutely love them as well, is Jason and these after-match pictures of the change rooms. I know the first picture I think we put in the group, and within 24 hours, there must have been 500 likes on this one picture, and put them in now. It's just a bit of respect as well. And like you say, a lot of other clubs are now trying to take more of that and them copying as well. But it's just nice to see that respect, isn't it, off the field as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And just very briefly, just to mention just to build on what Lewis said about the coaches as well, right? You got to remember somebody like Mickey Nelson. If you look at his career, it's unbelievable, right? And he came from Stockport County to come to Chester Street United and Parkview Academy. Okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't the only one that applied for that job, by the way. I'm not going to mention the other names, but there was, at least another 3 top quality coaches wanted to come to this club and do that. But I have somebody of Mickey Nelson's stature there alongside, the vision that Lewis and John have got. That makes you proud. That makes you want to do. I'm terrible. I'm probably one of the biggest mourners and whingers at times. But then I think when I see what we achieve off the field and on the field, kind of like you sit back and you think, yeah, it's worth it. It's worth doing it. And Jason, I've created a monster with Jason, to be perfectly honest. He just came along to watch, and all of a sudden now he's like, well, he's got a title. He's our match day operations manager, and he takes massive pride in what he does. And we joke on with him all the time, but we don't lose footballs because he goes after them everywhere. We go away from every away game, and sometimes, like last night at Burton, for instance, the guy at Burton who obviously has to do the change rooms was trying to kick Jason out because Jason basically was doing his job for him,
Yeah.
And he takes some photos, and it's great because at the end of the day, nobody's going to turn around and say, you know what, that Chester United were here, and what a bunch of bob. They don't. No. Everybody seems to enjoy hosting us. Everybody enjoys coming to the Riverside, and being hosted by us. And a lot of that's because we try to do things the right way off the pitch as well as doing it on the pitch. And Jason's a big part of that. Lewis said Colin's mad as a box of frogs. So is Jason, but I wouldn't have it any other way. He's and he gets frustrated as well. He'll tell you this, gets frustrated with people because he feels like there are people perhaps could do a little bit more, but then it doesn't stop him turning around and saying, well, I'm not going to not do what I do. I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
And I said something this morning, and I don't want this to sound like a shout out to myself, but I sat and wrote 3 articles for Saturday's program from 6:45 this morning till like 8:30, before I had my breakfast, and I thought to myself, am I mad for doing this? And I thought, no, it's about setting standards. And it's about if other people can see whatever you do, the coaches do what they do because they're great at doing that. The players do what the best they can because they're good at that. Lewis is a fantastic motivator and a great organizer, and he is the head of what we do, and it's very much we see that. And these are the guys that we want to work for. And so you think to yourself, set your standards. Set your standards on and off the pitch. And if you set your standards the right way, I'm a great believer that patience brings rewards and hard work brings rewards. And if you do the right things at the right times and you keep doing them, eventually something will fall in place. So yeah, absolutely. Jason does a fantastic job. And, and we get great social media interactions, particularly from Jason's posts, because people can't do anything other than put on, yeah, thanks very much for what you've done. Absolute pleasure to host you, sort of thing. And that's what a lot of it's about as well,
Brilliant. Yeah, finally get on to the FA Cup. Obviously, you've joined. Also, Lewis, after you then, mate.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like people like Jason are kind of, we're lucky to have him because he is, he's great. You need people to do what he's doing and organise and be there. And, I'm dead pleased that he's part of our club. And for me, he is a great asset alongside all the other people who work in the club. But, he puts out the strips, occasionally he gets them wrong a little bit and doesn't space them out enough for my OCD, but he does it every week, and you know he's relentless, and as Jeff says, takes real pride in what he does. To be fair, and does it to a really, really good standard, and he's a belter. To be fair.
Excellent. In the FA, the Youth Cup, and I mean, last night I know we had the lads from Blythe Town on, and we were doing a show, and I know kind of around the time it was going to be coming to full time. I wanted to know what the scores, but I can't say anything but what we're looking at the screen at the moment. And I seen Jason's message did pop through, which it normally doesn't come through on the screen. I kind of seen it. There was a picture sent first, and I was like, "Oh, what's the scores?" And then obviously it came through the 2-0, and it actually knocked me for 6. So I just wanted to see that win and push on for that next stage against, which we'll talk about in a second, Aston Villa would have been, but. I mean, getting to last night, Lewis, I mean, what a journey just to get around to, and playing a team away at Burton in a great stadium as well. They must be so proud of, obviously, the night last night.
Yeah, it's a great, you know, people say it, and I'm probably miserable because, like I say, unless you win the Champions League, I don't think I'm happy.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. I'm kind of conditioned to go like, what? Like you lost what we're talking about, but to be fair, no, to get to the second round, to get to where we did, the volume of games, the teams that we played and beat, really, really sets out the stall for where we are. And I think you know, the mark of what we did and what we were, the biggest conversation in the dressing room was the fact that we gave 2 goals away that we didn't need to give away. And if that doesn't happen, we could be talking about playing Aston Villa. So it's them fine margins. But for the players that we've got, like to take a full-time outfit who can do shape for 2-3 weeks in preparation for the game and work on it and do that, you know, we're a school, we're a college, we have kids doing band lists and kids not doing A levels and me shouting at them and all you know, trying to move lessons around so we can do training. You know, we do have a full-time setup, but it's a real challenge. But the whole club should be really, really proud because they made history. They made history in getting to the second round, and you know there was a number of first years there, and the challenge to them first years is go and get to the third round next year. That's what it's got. Every year there's got to be a step and a challenge, and I think. Burton were the better side and deserved to win the game. But what we did was we showed that in the second half, just how resilient they could be. You know, Michael made changes to the shape, and the lads had never worked on that previously, and it worked. You know, they're resilient. They pick that up. So yeah, they can see how close they are to their counterparts who are scholars or professionals. You know, there's 1-2 players I think who played in the first team for Burton. I think it was the 7 and the 9, I think, if I remember rightly. So great challenge for them to come up against that. But I think the overriding feeling is a bit disappointed because you would have liked to have gone one more. But really proud. If I take my miserable head off, really proud of them actually because they done really well. They didn't fold on the night at all. They didn't let the occasion get to them. They got beat by a better side on the night, and they made a couple of mistakes for the goals, and that for them will stand them in good stead as they continue to develop because they then go. When we talk about playing quickly, that's the importance of playing quickly because the goalkeeper gets shut off the ball, you know. So the Northern League isn't always conducive to playing quickly because perhaps teams don't always play at that pace that like a Burton's going to play at, for example. But we can encourage that like being dynamic on the ball and trying to be quick because if they want to play at a high level, that's what they have to do. And then they saw that in real time last night and adapted well to it. So yeah, I was really, really proud on the way home as you reflect, disappointed that they didn't lay a glove on them and get away. But no, they did smash it, and the run has been really, really good for the club. I think context. Tell me a club that plays in the FA Youth Cup that is the first team. Like, how the hell do you fulfill fixtures? You know, we literally have that dilemma where we're going, right, okay, that's great. We've got a Northern League game and an FA Youth Cup game, so we'll have to play Tuesday and Wednesday. And these are the things that people don't really look at that's happening, that we are literally completely and utterly unique. Our FA Youth Cup squad is 95% of the first team. The other ones are the really old players who are 19. So, like, it's mad. Like, you're thinking, God, like, so the FA Youth Cup this year has been a pain in the backside for the Northern League campaign because of the volume of games, but, like, incredible for the club. And next year, when those boys graduate to being under 19s, that'll make life so much easier because we'll have a cohort of under 18s biting at the heels of the first team trying to get in. And we then have our complete structure of first, second, and third years. And that's what we've done. But yeah, FA Youth Cup journey was great. Back to business on Saturday, and the lads should be proud of where they got to, and learn that if they want to get to that next level, they can now see what they need to do. So yeah, good.
Not really good. And I think, Jeff, obviously the run so far the club's been on, I think if you just got past Burton last night, I know when Jason Mesh saying the winner would get Aston Villa, I was just thinking, wow, like a North East side from the Northern League going to play against a Premier League side in the FA Youth Cup would have been amazing. It would have just been the icing on the cake for the 3 years so far, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been. But listen, let's take a positive from a negative, right?
Yeah.
The fact is that we were disappointed that we didn't move on. And we were entitled to be disappointed because, as Lewis said, the 2 goals we gave away could have been avoided.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from Burton, as Lewis says, they were definitely the better side. After 29 minutes, when we're 2-0 down, we were sitting in the stand thinking this could be 5 or 6, and it wasn't, because the lads dug in, they changed the way things round, they rallied, and they gave it a good go. And the fact that we can be disappointed in the result is a positive for me, because
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about South Shields, who did really well in this competition a few years back, and they actually played Premiership opposition. They played Fulham, right? They got beat 11-0 off Fulham, right? Now that kind of like almost meant that everything that they'd done beforehand was like nullified, because people just remembered the 11-0.
Yeah.
That could have happened to us against Aston Villa. But I'll tell you what, when that draw, when the email came through last Friday with the draw for the 3rd round, what you've got to try and get into your head, and what people don't realise, is Northern League 2nd Division side, their name was alongside a Premiership side.
Class man, isn't it? Yeah.
And okay, we didn't get through, right? But nothing can take away the fact that our name. Can you imagine if it had been Burton Albion or Chesterley Street United versus Newcastle United? Can you?
Yeah.
Because it could have been. It could have been. It was a free and open draw. We could have got Man City. We could have got Man United. We could have got Liverpool. Villa would have been, no disrespect to Villa, but we could have got that, And the fact that we're disappointed that we didn't do enough to get through, I think it's a positive rather than a negative sort of thing, And, to say our name in lights would have been unbelievable. Quite what Aston Villa would have made of the Riverside, I don't know. But it hasn't happened, right? But we had a dream, and if we can keep giving these young lads a dream, then they're going to keep going, aren't they? And that's one of the things that it was about for me. We did have to, on numerous occasions, pinch ourselves and try to say to other people, look, we haven't beaten Burton yet. Stop talking about Aston Villa sort of thing, and but it was difficult. It was difficult, because I think some people were thinking about that way. But no, absolutely fantastic. It would have been the last 64 in the country, not just in the north, the last 64 in the country, in a competition where over 600 teams applied. It's an unbelievable achievement, without any shadow of a doubt.
I think just to finish on that point as well, when we talk about standards and aspirations and clubs and teams and all that stuff, 2 seasons ago there was a club that won the FA Youth Cup, Manchester United, and we took a group to Carrington who were part of that Northern League structure, who were all under 18s and under 19s, and we beat Manchester United at Carrington, and they won the FA Youth Cup that year. So that like, for us, when we talk about playing and doing things, like the lads are there and they're walking around. Cristiano Ronaldo walked out of the training ground as we were walking in. And the immediate reaction for us getting the changing room. So we've driven in our lovely 16-seater minibus and pulled up, got out because we're usually late because we're flying about here, there, and everywhere. Get in the changing rooms, lads. And the riot act starts. What are you doing? Like, stop looking at the pictures and the photos and wanting to get selfies. What are you here for? What are you here for? You're here to win. Darren Fletcher was there. You know, there was the whole entourage of Manchester United, and we went and beat Manchester United. So much so that they're gonna play us again this season in a game. We drew 8-9 months later with the Italian national team, who then went on and won the World Championships and the Euros. So we don't really understand levels and responsibilities and what you should do, because there isn't a barrier. Because at the end of the day, they've got one head, 2 legs, and 2 arms. And if you perform and you work hard and you're hard to beat, then anything can happen. And they're done smashing. They're done smashing in the FA Youth Cup. But our expectations are that, like, Chester United won't win the FA Youth Cup. I'm not deluded. But the thought process that an under-19 side can beat an under-18 side that's the best in the country is exactly where we've got to be. And in every single game, have that drive to try and do well. And that's what we're trying to instill into people, to say, hey, Italy, like, oh, we're playing the Italian national side. I mean, we were their last game in them selecting their squad to go to the European Championships. Nice. They got to the semi-finals in, and a year later they won the World Championships. And then you're going, oh my God, why are we playing? Like, they're going to struggle then, aren't they? When they try, like, lads are fighting to get in. We drew 1-1 with them, and then in the hotel, they're saying, hold your heads up high and make sure when you walk in the dining room that you let the Italians know that actually we're not just some tin pot outfit from the middle of nowhere. So that's our aspirations, that's our dreams, to at our level, at our age group, compete with anybody and everybody that's there. And that's what we tried to do last night. And the lads gave a good account of themselves, and they worked really hard. And but for injuries and different circumstances, it could have been different. But yeah, that's the game. But really proud overall.
No, I should be, both of you. And I just want to say as well, massive thank you, Lewis and Jeff, for both coming on tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting about Chester Street United. Like you say, another club push that. Well, I love doing these on the show to get the word out there about the club and hopefully grow the support. Like I say, been some great support watching throughout the night. Please get across the social medias, check the news going on, like, subscribe, all that you can to help the club so much. Like you say, get yourself down to Riverside when you can to watch. There's plenty of games as well. But lads, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been great. Keep doing what you're doing. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great, James. Thanks very much.
Excellent. And 2 more shows coming up next week, Wednesday and Thursday night, both 9:10. Wednesday night we've got the Steps 1 to 4, and on the Thursday night we've got the Northern League. Both November review shows. Got a lot of guests coming on, a couple of managers coming on as well, so really looking forward to that. But again, thank you so much for your support as always, and hope you all enjoy the rest of your night as well.
Thank you.